Hi there, my name is Matty Hamilton. I'm the author of Through Travel and Error, Confessions of an Asylum-Seeking Canadian. Welcome to my online readings. Now, before I get into them, I want to go over a couple things with you. First and foremost, I'm a one-man crew, and if it weren't for this little remote control thingy, I don't think I'd be getting any of these out to you. Meaning that there's not going to be a lot of editing, meaning that if I should stutter, stumble, mutter, or make a mistake, you know what? I'm just going to keep on going. Bear with me, people. I've been a fly by the seat of my pants type of guy most of my life, and these readings are much the same thing. They're designed to be casual and relaxed. I'm going to read a couple little sections, but then talk about some of the other things, maybe between the lines, or maybe some of the things that weren't jotted down at all. A little bit more about myself. I'm 34 years old, but a decade ago, living here in Ottawa, Canada, I realized that I was very unhappy. I mean, I had a good life. I had great friends, great job, great family, but I wasn't happy. And to use a cliche, I decided to go and find myself. So I bought a one-way ticket to Scotland, and the plan was to travel around the world without a timeline, without an itinerary. If I liked a spot, I'd stay, and if I didn't, I'd move on. If the trip took me 6 months, so be it. If it took me 5 years, so be it. A decade later, I'm still traveling. I haven't even touched South America yet, so I know I've got much more to see. Somewhere along the lines, though, I thought it might be wise that I write down some of these adventures I got into and jot down some of the lessons that I had learned, which is where this book comes in. It is the first book, the first of 3 books, which will chronicle my adventures, or more appropriately, misadventures of life on the road. One of the things I did have going for me was that I was quite naive and unaware about how this world worked, and as a result, I found myself in some really interesting, fascinating, sometimes dangerous, but always educational situations. And that's what I write about. Anyways, I really do hope you enjoy these readings, these snippets. You come back next week. And to try to hook you, I'm going to read something called Down the Road. It's in the beginning of the book, but we'll give you a little bit of foreshadowing about what my future travels will entail. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. Down the Road. My predicament was grim. My predicament was beyond grim. It was gruesome. It was tragic. It was so mind-bogglingly inconceivable that I still wasn't totally convinced that it was actually happening. I hesitantly looked back over my shoulder. There was nothing but the pitch-black night staring back at me. The darkness confirmed my implausible reality. How did I let myself get so completely abandoned in the middle of some rinky-dink, third-world, piss-poor African country? All I knew with a bleak certainty was that I was standing somewhere on the road in the middle of the night. I was all the more demoralized because I had absolutely nothing to my name. No wallet, no money, no passport, no backpack, nothing. There was nothing except the massive crisis waiting for my return. Waiting for what? I didn't want any part of that catastrophe. Even if I did want to play role of the hero, I wouldn't know where to begin. Maybe in a perfect world, I would know what course of action to take. In this utopian world, I would be cool, calm, and collected. I would handle this gigantic problem with the skill and confidence of a natural-born leader. But this wasn't a perfect world. I wasn't composed. I was tiptoeing on the edge of sheer panic. I hadn't bargained for this type of turmoil. This wasn't part of my master's scheme. I was in way over my head, and I didn't have the slightest idea how to get my ass out of it. A conservative assessment of my dilemma would be that I was up shit creek without a paddle, there was a hole in the boat, and a nasty hurricane was looming on the horizon. As much as I racked my brain or scoured for the quick fix, I knew deep down I didn't have any alternatives. There wasn't going to be an easy way out of this one. My ability to drop and run at the first sign of trouble, a weapon I had used countless times over the past 2 years, wasn't available. There was nowhere to run. As much as I wished otherwise, there was only one place I could go. I went back to deal with the carnage and the bodies. My only consolation was that I looked stylish. As I say, I hope that has intrigued you and piqued your interest to come back next week and find out what happens to yours truly on this big funny piece of rock that we live on. Until then, if you do want to find out more about myself and or the book, Through Travel and Error, Confessions of an Asylum-Seeking Canadian, please visit my website, madmattiesworld.com. There's loads of information about the book, myself, photo galleries, you name it, it's there. Anyways, until then, thank you very much for your time. I really look forward to meeting you all next week. Until then, have a great one. Safe travels. Bye-bye.